What's going on, beautiful people? We are back again with another Mental Max Out podcast. I'm your host, Akeem Robinson. And for those of you joining us for the first time, thanks for checking it out. Mental Max Out is all about helping people change their perspectives, think differently, and get out of the hole. If you're back again, I celebrate your willingness to continue growing and challenging your mind. Remember, if you like what you hear today, make sure you hit that subscribe button or whatever platform you're listening from. Share it with a friend and follow us on social media at Mental Max Out Podcast.
I am always so excited because it's always another adventure. It's always another journey. And we're just always digging a little bit deeper into it. And just joining me as always is Allison. What you got, man?
Hi, honey. What's going on, everybody? I'm super excited to be here again, back again with another episode. We're just so thrilled that we get to continue on this journey, that we get to do it together. And yeah, we're just happy to be here. I was just telling my wonderful husband about this situation that happened to me today at the pizza place that I went to pick up a pizza. Our pastor said this morning, what every man wants is not what his wife thinks that they want. And what they really, really, really want to do is nothing. And they really, really, really don't want us to bother them. And they really, really, really just want peace. And so I took that to heart. We left church. I said, hey, babe, what do you want? You want to go out to lunch, maybe some brunch, like go out for Mexican food? And he was just like, pizza at home really sounds great. I was like, all right, that's what he wants. That's what we'll do. So I ordered pizza, go to Sam's Club, run our errands. He takes Serena home. I order this pizza. And I get there and they're like, your one pizza's done, but your gluten-free, mine, is not done yet. It'll be done in a few minutes. Can I get you anything while you wait? No, thank you. I'm good. 2 minutes later, the guy comes up to me again. Miss Allison, I'm so sorry. They made you the wrong pizza. They put the wrong toppings on the pizza. We're going to make you another one. It'll only take a little bit. And I'm like, okay, great. Akeem's pizza's probably already cold. All he wanted was this pizza from Fat Boys. So I'm like, it's fine. I sit there. I wait. And they bring it out to me like, I'm so sorry. Here's your pizza. And so I checked it because I had gotten him some blue cheese on the side. I checked the pizza and it was not the pizza that I ordered. It did not have the right toppings on it. And I was like, ooh. So I said to him, hey, I'm really sorry. This isn't the right pizza. I'm just really sorry. I just want to let you know. I don't really know what to do from here. And he's like, oh my gosh, I am just so sorry. I could saute some pepperoni for you right now. And it's not a saute pepperoni kind of establishment. Like, quite frankly, I don't know where he was going to get the pan to saute the pepperoni. But I was like, no, that's really okay. And they're like, well, we can make you another one. The third pizza. Now Akeem's pizza has been out in the oven for probably at least 45 minutes. And I still have a 20-minute drive home. So anyways, I'm finally like, you know what? Is it okay if I just get a refund? Like, I'm just going to go in a different direction here. And he was like so apologetic. He was so kind. He was like, I'm so sorry. I'm short-staffed today. We just merged with another company. I'm like, no, dude, it's totally good. He's like, okay, well, you were an online order. I can't refund you. And so I'm thinking he's going to offer me store credit, which is totally fine. I'm coming back. I like their pizza. It's fine. I'm a repeat customer. It's all good. He's like, okay, let me call my GM. He's on vacation in the Bahamas. I'm like, okay, it's not that serious. Like, it's not, I'll take the pizza with no pepperoni. Yeah, like, I'm not worried about it. And this man, I just felt so bad because, he was like, I'm so sorry. Like, we just got a new system and that's why I don't know the PIN and I'm short staffed and I really can saute that pepperoni for you, ma'am. And I'm like, no, it's really okay. So he refunds me. And then he's like, here, pizza's on me. And I was like, well, good, because if I came home with no pizza in this story, Akeem would have been like, okay, but where's the pizza? And so I say all that to say, like, I had an experience today. I was really frustrated. I was like, my face got hot. I was nervous. I was like, if I don't walk through the door with this pizza, you're not going to be mad, but you'll be a little bit disappointed with no pizza if I brought home 2 hours later, no pizza.
No, it's such a funny story, too, because when you walk through the door with the pizza, the superhero music was playing, and it was like, but little did I know that whole entire story happened. And that's the cool thing about your story is, like, being kind under these pressure-filled moments. Like, there's so many times in our lives where we have these moments where it's hot and there's some tension behind it, but how are you going to respond? You could have easily lit the guy up. You could have easily went off on him and said, this isn't what I ordered. I've been coming here or whatever. And people call that now Karen. But you could have been great.
No offense to my Aunt Karen.
Yeah, and I was about to say, if your name is Karen listening to this, we're not trying to be offensive to you. I'm just telling you what people are saying as a trend. But no, it's such an interesting place to be kind when things are not going your way. Because I obviously want to lose it or go crazy. And I remember the time when we first started dating.
Oh boy.
We first started dating and you wanted pizza then too. There's always a pizza story. And she wanted pizza then. And I remember I went to the store and they did not have the pizza she wanted. And I was like, I can't go back to this.
Dion's Pizza in Las Cruces.
Yes. It was Dion's Pizza. And I was like, I can't go back without her pizza. And they were like, oh, well, we're so sorry. And I was like, well, that's not what she ordered. So can I get this one? And they were like, what? But you got this one. And I was like, I understand that, but I need this pizza. So I waited and left with two. And I say that story to say, like, we can make adjustments to things that don't go our way. Because there's always a choice. Because you can easily look at something that's not going your way and say to yourself, I'm pissed. I don't want this. I don't want to go with this. And then let the person know about themselves and not that you're a fan of them and tell them. But you can choose differently. And I think sometimes that's when we're really tested in our phase of grace, if you will, of how much grace are we willing to give. We want grace, but how much are you willing to give to people sometimes?
I'm the epitome of a person who will go out to a restaurant, and if your food is wrong, I'm telling you, like pom-poms in my hand, send it back. Don't pay for something that you don't want. And I'm like, I'll be a cheerleader for people who get their order and it's wrong and they're like, oh, it's fine, I asked for crab and I got salmon. Like, no, send it back because you paid for that crab. But like, when it's me, my face gets hot, I get nervous, I still have a little bit of that confidence, but the reality of the situation is when you're met with the kindness, you really are like, I don't need to be crazy right now. I can still be confident and firm in what I want, but I don't need to be, reprimanding this assistant manager who did not put the incorrect toppings on my pizza. Quite frankly, it was not him, who's just so apologetic. You can just tell he's like doing his best. He's here at the pizza place. Maybe he has kids. At the end of the day, it's like people are human. And a lot of times when it's not you in the situation, you're like, this is what you should do. And I do that to you all the time where I'm like, I wouldn't have handled that situation that way, babe. They don't respect you. Da, 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 da. And then when I'm in the situation, I'm like, thank you. I'll take my pizza to go now.
Yeah, it's you want to come at the person with hell and brimstone and stone them to death, but you can't, right? You can't just go crazy on somebody. And I'm always trying to tell her like, hey, at least we're good. At least it's good. You're safe. And it's such a crazy thing because like, as you were telling that story, I think about, like the word when it says like, if somebody slaps your face, turn the other cheek. It's so hard for me to think that the word is already saying people are going to offend you. People are going to come up short, not do the right thing. And when they do that, turn the other cheek to offer.
Don't meet evil with evil.
Yeah. And it's so crazy because like that person wasn't trying to be evil when
Correct.
They didn't give her the food, but you want to be like,
yeah,
you pissed me off.
The pizza guy was not evil. But like how often are we in our head like, this is the worst thing that could happen to me today? And like, it's raining, it's storming. I barely made it in and out of Sam's Club without getting drenched. In my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I don't bring this pizza home to Akeem, he's going to be so sad. But in reality, he's like, thank God you made it home and the weather like did not damage you or your car and nobody was driving crazy and like the pizza's not worth it. But in that moment, right, like I'm like, this is the worst thing. And like my perspective is so off because one little thing happens and I'm like, the day is ruined.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like, we are so set on what's that one thing that's going to tip us over the edge instead of like trying to hone in our perspective on all the great things that have happened. That one thing is not going to throw me off. And I was literally looking at this statistic that said people have negative thoughts 80% of the time. That's a high number of your thoughts. 80% of them are negative. And that's so crazy because that sounds like a prison. That sounds like you have no freedom whatsoever. And you're just constantly going throughout your day.
19 hours a day. You're not even awake 19 hours in a day.
Not even. That means your dreams.
Your dreams are negative.
Like you got no escape. And you're just waiting for something to tip you over the edge. And so for you guys listening out there, what's that one thing? What's that one thing that tips you over the edge? And for most of us, we can think of it like that. And if you can think of it like that, what's that one thing that makes you happy? And that is when people struggle. I've counseled a ton of people before, and when I ask them that same question back to back, what's one thing that makes you lose it? They instantly give me an answer. But when I ask them, what's one thing that makes you happy? They pause. And that's because we're not thinking about it so much. And truly, when she came home, yeah, with the pizzas, and I heard the music playing, but I heard the music playing because she came home. I was so happy that she was home because it was raining hard and there was traffic, and I was sending her this text message, and I said, hey, just be careful on the road because I don't want you to get rear-ended. And the pizza's the last thing on my mind. But throughout our days, we have so many things that we think about that if this person says one thing to me, I'm going to lose it. If this thing happens to me at work, I'm off. If I don't make it on time, this isn't going to ruin everything. And that's not the right perspective we need to have. We need to work on trying to alter our view on it and change how we look at it.
One of the things I feel like I've really been working on lately, thanks to you and your help too, is like, worry about yourself. I feel like things ruin your day all the time when you're worried about other things, other people, other circumstances, other situations, things that don't pertain to you. But like when you worry about yourself, who you are and what you want and what you can control and what you're doing in your life, it's a lot easier to not be swayed kind of by those little things. And so like at the end of the day, like if you're constantly thinking about other people, then it's easy to let these things out of your control kind of just make you not have joy, just make you not like be thrilled. And it's harder. Like today at church, we've been bringing Serena into church with us. And she does pretty okay sometimes. Another day she wants to party and she wants to talk to everybody around her. And like, people wave at her. And I'm like, if you wave at her, she's going to talk to you. And then she's going to disrupt the whole service. But I mean, I guess it's fine if that's your jam. So today she did so good. Oh my gosh, she did so good. And right towards the end, she was like, kind of starting to make some noise. They were going to do the prayer. So Akeem stepped out with her. And I was like thinking to myself, I don't think I told you this. Like I was thinking to myself, I was like, dang, like I should have stepped out with the baby so Akeem could have stayed and listened. And I was like, dang, that sucks. And then just as quickly as that thought came to mind, I was like, he offered, I'm good. I'm gonna keep listening to this sermon because it's a really good sermon. I'm here. And it's like already come and gone. Like he's already out in the lobby with her. You can't do anything about it. There's no sense in you both being out there. And it's like, worry about yourself. And what I needed for my cup to be filled, to be better for him, to be better for my family, to be better for Serena, was to stay there and listen to the rest of the sermon. Kind of just to say all that, to say like, when you worry about yourself, it's easier for you to find joy in the little things. It's easier for you to not be swayed when things happen that you can't control, that frustrate you or piss you off. And it's easier for you to not be irritated by the little things.
I remember, do you remember like in the beginning, oh my gosh, of Serena, we just were not doing well. And I would always say like, you need to do something. And remember, I was like, and he was like, I'm trying to be a mom. I'm trying to take care of this. I'm trying to juggle everything. And I was like, no. What do you want to do?
Yep.
And I was like, is that a run? Is that going to Target? I was like, you need to do something for you. And it's so impactful that you said, worry about yourself, because I think we get caught up into thinking all of these other things have to be taken care of. And the only person not getting taken care of is you. And you come back and you're like, okay, guys, I'm ready to pour into you. But your battery is already empty.
Yeah.
You have nothing left. I remember it was so hard to get you out of that place, but when you went for a run, because I think that was the first thing you did. I think it was
I went for a walk around the complex, and I remember I went for a walk around the complex because I wasn't ready to leave the baby yet. And so you were like, okay, well, like, what if you just go for a walk? And I was like, okay, I'll be in the complex. I'm good. I can do that. She was probably about 3 weeks old, and I texted my friends. I have 2 friends who had babies within like a couple months of me, and I texted them, and I was like, when were you guys ready to leave your baby for the first time? And they were like, and their kids are like, I don't know, one is a month older than Serena, the other is like 2 or 3 months older than Serena, and they were like, honestly, we're still not. And I was like, oh, and my other friend was like, honestly, it's still hard. And I was like, oh, okay, so it's okay, like it's normal. Not only is it normal, everybody's different. Like everybody does things differently. And so like I went for a walk, and I'm texting with friends who are like, yeah, I did it and it was terrible, and so I didn't do it again. And I have another friend who was like, I drove 30 minutes, sat in a river and cried for 30 minutes, and then made it home for my next like pump session. Everyone's different, but everybody's worried about themselves. And like in order to like function, everybody just worried about themselves. So it's nice to have the camaraderie of like, hey, what did you do? But at the end of the day, like they're not you.
What's so telling about that statement is like, everybody's worried about themselves, and people can, I guess, misunderstand it as being selfish. And it's like, no, it's not being selfish. It's not understanding what you need in order to pour into you. And I always think about how, like, here's Jesus with these disciples that he literally hand selected and changed their names and went everywhere with them. But even, it doesn't say this in the Bible, but even he probably got annoyed and he was like, I need to go off to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times where he went off to himself to pray. Nobody calls him selfish for that. Nobody says that. And I'm not saying that, oh, you're comparing yourself to Jesus. No, what I am saying is he knew he needed that in order to be at his best. And sometimes we need separation in order to be at our best. Was I telling her to separate herself from Serena at 3 weeks old because I was like, Serena needs it? No, she needed it as a new mom.
Mm-hmm.
She needed a breath, because sometimes it maybe can feel like you're drowning. Two people are in a house trying to figure something out with this person that just got into life. That can seem like a tidal wave is never ending. For me, I was so proud that she did that because I thought it helped us, and not necessarily helped Serena and her bond. It helped us as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think those are one of the things that people forget. Like, there's a couple too. There's people that you need to interact with all the time, and they need little things to be good. And so what are those things for you that help you be good?
Yeah, it definitely, I think too, like, understanding your support system knows you the best. And so, like, at the end of the day, like, was I like, I can't leave? Yeah, I was. But like, I also know that you know me better than anybody. So if you're telling me, hey, I think this is something that's going to help you, then I have to trust that. And when you're newly postpartum, it's really hard to hear that. But ultimately, I'm glad I did it, because my walk around the complex turned into just a trip to TJ Maxx and back, or just a trip to Home Goods and back. And like, those things slowly started to like really help me get out of the phase that I was in at that time. And I think that as much as you don't want to let others control, the way that you think, you don't want to let others like influence you to think negatively or to have those like moments where you're like, this is the worst thing ever. You also have to think about who are you trusting to speak into your life, and who are you trusting to allow your thought process to change in a positive way.
For me, it was hard. It was really hard in the beginning of that too, because you didn't have that group. Y'all were friends, but I remember I had to like almost not necessarily beg you, but I had to be like, reach out to people that are in a similar situation than you. So to her point, yeah, you have supports, but sometimes you need to seek out supports that are in similar situations. There's strength in numbers. And so there's going to be times in your life where you might have a set of friends that you've had for a very long time, but this new season that you're in, none of your friends have experienced that. Mm-hmm. You might have to actually step outside of your actual friend group sometimes and get more friends, or get a new support system to help you through that. Because I thought that was huge too, when you did reach out to them because they were new moms. Because one part of your story is you had a friend who had a 2-year-old, mm-hmm. or she was a year and a half, but that wasn't the friend she needed support from mm-hmm. at the time. She needed the support from new moms.
And I think when you are in a caretaking profession and you're in the healthcare industry and you're so used to hearing other people's problems and taking care of other people, it can be really hard to reach out, and it can be really hard to be the one saying, hey, I need your help, or hey, like, I need advice. I'm not okay, because you're so used to other people being the ones around you that are not okay. And I think that definitely influenced me to be like, hey, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I have you, babe. Like, I don't really need to talk to anybody else. Like, I have cried for 21 straight days, but I don't need anybody else to know that. You know that, and that's enough. And you can help me. You can help me. And I put so much pressure on you without knowing it to be like, no, you can help me. You can help me. But in reality, you've never been a new mom, so you didn't know, and like mm-hmm. you're just flying by the seat of your pants, and you had a phenomenal support system of men helping you. You were just trying, and you were supporting me as a husband, but you didn't know how to support me as a parenting partner yet. And and still we're trying to figure that out. So
yeah, we ain't gotta figure it out. There ain't no book over here, y'all. We ain't gotta
but like, at the end of the day, it's like, it's hard to ask for help. It's so hard, and you don't want to feel like, you know, you're burdening somebody else, but it's so important to have that support system.
Like as a coach, those are the experiences you kind of run into all the time. Like when I first started coaching, I was around coaches who knew way more than me. And that's so intimidating. That's so intimidating to say, like, yes, I'm supposed to be this expert at something. I'm not even close to your level. Can you help me? Because it almost makes you feel vulnerable, almost makes you feel like you don't know what you're talking about, or you shouldn't even be asking. And that's not the case. You can ask people, you can lean on other people. And that was the hardest thing for me to learn where I was from, that I can lean on other men. And when Serena was born, I was leaning on other guys. I'm talking about, hey, is this normal? Hey, is this okay? Hey, I'm trying to support you the best way I can, but how does that look? And every one of them gave me something different that I used at different stages. When you're going through your daily life, what are some of those people that can help you in certain stages? And then you might need to now seek out other people, because what are those surroundings? Like for us, we made really good friends at church that have helped us with different things. We've made really good friends in our life groups that have helped us with different things. We both have connected with really good people that we worked with at work, and now a relationship that we take now with us to say, hey, I need a little bit more. Who are those different kind of friendships to step into and keep you on track? Because sometimes the smallest thing can knock you off. The pizza box and the not having the pizza the right way can knock your whole day off. It could be something that's just so bad. There was this story not too long ago. Somebody got cut off. The passenger honked the person's horn, and the person that cut them off turned around and shot at them. And who knows what they were dealing with? Who knows what they were thinking about? But sometimes that one thing made that person snap. And it's such a crazy thing sometimes that you don't want to be in that situation. And so thinking about it, taking a breath, understanding that you may seem like you're drowning, but somebody has a life preserver that can help you. Somebody has a life jacket that can pull you out. But who are those people?
And you don't know what other people are going through. You know, at the end of the day, I think the most important lesson is like, you have different friends for different times in your life, and that's okay. I lived with the same person all 4 years of college, and then my other roommate I lived with for the last 3 years of college, and they were both in our wedding, and like they're both still my best friends today. And you know, one of them has a baby who is 2 years older than Serena. I watched her become a mom, and I watched everything that she went through in her daughter's life for the first year. And so as I was preparing to have Serena, I thought that was going to be us. I thought, okay, like that's what Courtney went through. That's what we're going to go through too. Cool. And then very quickly, like our situation was not like that. And I think for me in that moment, like it was a weird situation where my best friend was not the person that I was turning to, because her situation was so different from me that I felt like I couldn't talk to her. Not because of anything she did, but it just wasn't the time in that point. And she was so supportive. She was always there for me. But at the end of the day, like, because she was a different kind of mom, it wasn't relatable for me in the depths of what I was going through. And I think that's okay, because we're still best friends. We still talk as often as we can, you know, and I think it doesn't change our friendship, but it's okay that in that moment, I leaned on other women. I leaned on other friendships. Other friendships grew stronger. You have friends for different times in your life and different situations that you go through. You can't talk to everybody about everything, because I would be willing to bet that your friend group is full of different personalities, where some people are just better suited for the fun, the happy hour on Friday afternoon, or the deep conversation on a Sunday morning, or you go to church with some of them, or, you know, whatever it is, or they're just a work friend. Who are your friends, and what part of your life do they fulfill, it, knowing it's okay that it's not always the same.
And I think you have to look at that too, of saying, what situation am I going through right now? Because I think easily we have this feeling in us to say, oh, this isn't going the way I need it to go, or this isn't working out. Let me go to my friend group of comfort. And sometimes that's not always the best place to go. Like, your friend group of comfort is your friend group of comfort for a reason. But sometimes you might have a friend group for understanding. You might have a friend group for coping with something that you've never had to deal with. And so it's good to have different levels of friendship. One of the first friends that I ever had was a 70-year-old dude. He was a 70-year-old dude. He was the first person I ever trained. And we became friends. And he taught me so many lessons that were ahead of my time and that I wouldn't even able to use them then. But he was giving me friendly advice from that stage. When I was running into those situations later, guess who I called? I was calling an older person because I needed advice on something that I felt like it was a very mature situation to be in and a very difficult situation for me to be in at that time. And then when there were situations where they were among peers and they were among work-related type stuff, I went to work-related peer type friends. So who are those friends that fill different categories and different levels? Because if you don't have people in those stages, start to observe, where are those people? Who are those people trying to speak into your life? Because I'm telling you, they're really out there. They might be out there in the groups you hang around. They might be out there in your children's sporting teams. They might be out there in your committees and things like that. But there are different levels of friends. So you need to always have one friend that's equal to you. And when you say equal to you, you mean of like life experiences, things that you've probably have gone through. So in most of those situations, that's a friend that you grew up with. And ideally, you would like to have one as a male and female. But if not, obviously you want to have just one that's like that. Then you want to have a male and female that's older. Why? Because the male can speak from a male's perspective on things that you're going through, and the woman can speak on the women's perspectives that you're going through of older things. And then you want to have somebody younger, because the reason why you want to have somebody younger is because you need to be a teacher as well, and you need to mentor. So it's one thing to have someone to go up to because they can lead you, but then it's one thing to go down because now you're learning how to lead someone. And so when you think about your friend group, honestly, probably like no more than 7 people. And that's really important. Those people are there for different stages because they're there to not agree with you. They're there to bring you understanding on things you don't necessarily grasp yet. And that's why they're important. And I had to learn that. And throughout the years, I've gathered more friends. My dad is one of those older gentlemen. I have some younger people that I mentor and just different things like that.
And I think as you go through life, the people in your life ebb and flow into those roles. And I think for a certain area, like I know that there's women in my life that I have been mentored by for different circumstances and different things. And you can have more than one in those categories for different things in your life. You know, one of the things that's most important to me is if Akeem and I are struggling with something, you know, I have the women that I feel comfortable and confident going to, and that's not everybody. I don't feel comfortable, you know, talking to everybody about our dirty laundry or our business, because it's important to me that the women that I talk to about, you know, our problems are first and foremost going to fight for our marriage. And so they're coming at me saying, you know, hey, you know, I know your husband and I know that this is how he thinks. Think about this because I also know how you are. And because I know how you are, I know how Akeem feels because I've seen you in these spaces before, or I've seen, you know, how you operate before. And so I understand where your husband's coming from. And that's really important because at the end of the day, you know, not all your friends can fill all those types of roles.
It's funny because I was the one that was telling her to talk about our dirty laundry to her friends.
So I was not going to do it.
She was like, she did not want to do it.
Here's the thing. Sorry, mom and dad. I will never tell my family, like my parents, my sister, they will never know if we're having issues because 1, I watch way too many romantic comedy movies to ever do that. 2, that's a tough opinion to get back. And I feel like at the end of the day, my friends, the women who stood up there when we got married, his friends, like those are individuals, his groomsmen, they're people who at no point in time do I feel would judge us. But also I've learned to be like, okay, I can share. And just because I share doesn't mean that they're gonna be like, well, Akeem sucks and da 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 da, and he ain't this and he ain't like, no, like I've had to get out of this mindset that, you know, we're just sitting around the lunch table bashing our boyfriends because it's not like that. You know, when you're an adult, it's not like that. When you're 16, absolutely it's like that. But now, like I've really had to seek out and be comfortable and confident in my friendships to know that like these individuals are here to support me. They're here to call me on my BS. They're here to call Akeem on his. And at the end of the day, like they're here to support us.
And so when you look back at yourself, who are those people in your life that can call you out? You need those people, because I'm telling you, if you're surrounding yourself with a ton of people that are just singing your praises and telling you how great it is, then you're doing yourself a disservice, because I'm telling you, you're not seeing it for what it really is. When we were going through things and it was not good, I remember I said to her, I said, "What do your friends say?" And she was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "What do your friends say when you tell them this?" She said, "I don't tell my friends." And I laughed. I said, how on earth are we going to get better if you're not getting different perspectives? And so what we're saying is, sometimes it's good to get different perspectives, because they can help you see the picture more clearly. Hey, you do this a lot, and it is a tendency. When you run into these situations, you might run away from difficult moments. Different perspectives can help you actually evaluate where you're going in your life.
Speaking of different perspectives, that's why we're glad you're here. We're glad you're tuning in to the Mental Max Out podcast.
Yeah.
We hope that we're giving you a different perspective, a different way to think, different way to challenge your mind this week. And we hope you come back.
And, this is one of those things where we are constantly growing. It's a journey for everybody. And so it's not just a one-day thing. This isn't something that by the time you hang up with this, you're like, oh, I know it all. No, it's something to explore. It's something to go through your day. It's something to now look at your friends and say, okay, who do I go to for these particular things, and see how those things affect you and help you. And they will start to point you in the right direction.
Thank you for joining us on this exciting episode of Mental Max Out. We hope today's discussion has empowered you with the insights and tools to overcome the challenges of depression, fear, and doubt. Always remember that you have a support system on this journey, and every step you take is a step forward towards victory. If you found this episode helpful, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. We greatly appreciate your feedback, as it allows us to continually provide you with the content that is most valuable to you. Stay connected with us on Instagram at Mental Max Out Podcast for a constant source of motivation, helpful advice, and a supportive community. Until the next time, keep pushing forward, and remember, you have the strength within you to max out your potential. Take care and stay strong.